For 7 years, this box was her world. A prison measuring just 3 feet long, 2 feet wide, and 2 feet high. But the most powerful cage her captors built wasn't made of wood. It was built with fear, isolation, and a terrifying lie. This is the story of Colleen Stan, the girl in the box, and how she survived one of the most prolonged cases of psychological coercion in American history. In May 1977, 20-year-old Colleen Stan was hitchhiking from Oregon to California. She was a kind, trusting young woman, eager to start her life. Her path crossed with Cameron and Janice Hooker, a young couple who appeared ordinary on the surface. But beneath that surface festered a dark sadism, particularly in Cameron, a man with a history of violent sexual fantasies. When Colleen accepted that ride, her world vanished. Hooker pulled over, threatened her with a knife, and forced her into a sleeping bag, tying her up. He drove her to his home at 11433 Walnut Avenue in Reading and threw her into a makeshift cellar. The first stage of her 7-year nightmare had begun. The physical torture was unimaginable. The box was claustrophobic and dark, but Hooker's true ingenuity was psychological. He constructed a device called a head box to blindfold her during punishments and transport. But his most powerful weapon was a story. Hooker claimed he was a member of the Company, a powerful, secretive slave ring. He told Colleen she had been purchased for $3,000. If she ever tried to escape, the Company would not only kill her, but would also torture and murder her entire family. He forced her to write a letter to her parents, pretending she was joining a cult, to cement the lie. This myth became the absolute reality of her existence. This is where the case becomes a masterclass in psychological control. Over years, Hooker gradually gave Colleen small privileges. She was allowed out of the box to do chores, then to care for Hooker's children. Eventually, she was even allowed to get a job and send her earnings to Hooker. This created a twisted sense of normalcy and a perverted form of gratitude, a phenomenon psychologists call trauma bonding. The goal was to make her a willing participant in her own captivity. A critical and complex figure in this story is Janice Hooker. She was herself a victim of Cameron's abuse, married to him as a teenager. Initially, she participated in Colleen's torture out of fear, but as the years passed, a strange dynamic developed. Janice and Colleen became allies in survival, both victims of the same man. In 1984, during a trip to visit Janice's mother in Utah, the facade finally cracked. Colleen, emboldened by years of small freedoms, confronted Janice about the Company. It was then that Janice revealed the earth-shattering truth. The Company was a complete fabrication. Cameron Hooker had acted alone. The mental chains were broken. The moment of truth had arrived. With the myth of the Company destroyed, Colleen saw her captor for what he was, a lone, pathetic man, not an all-powerful enforcer. She gathered every ounce of courage she had built over 7 years and called her family. The relief and shock on the other end of the line were palpable. The girl in the box was finally coming home. Colleen's family immediately contacted the police. Cameron and Janice Hooker were arrested. The quiet house on Walnut Avenue was revealed to be a chamber of horrors, shocking the community and the nation. At trial, the full extent of the depravity was revealed. The box, the headpiece, and the slave contract were entered as evidence. The prosecution painted a picture of a calculated, sadistic predator. In a stunning decision, Janice Hooker was granted full immunity in exchange for her testimony against her husband. The case became a textbook study for forensic psychologists. Colleen's inability to escape, even when physically able, is a prime example of learned helplessness. When a person learns they have no control over a situation, so they stop trying. The company lie was a brutal application of coercive control, a pattern of domination that isolates and intimidates a victim. And the complex relationship between captor and captive illustrates Stockholm Syndrome, where a hostage develops a psychological alliance with their captor as a survival strategy. Cameron Hooker was found guilty and sentenced to 104 years in prison, where he remains. Janice Hooker entered the Witness Protection Program. Colleen Stan, displaying incredible resilience, eventually married, had children, and rebuilt her life, choosing to embrace the light after so many years in darkness. Colleen Stan's story is more than a tale of survival. It's a map of the human mind's darkest prisons and its most powerful paths to freedom. It teaches us that the most formidable locks are not made of wood and metal, but of fear and deception. And her ultimate victory reminds us that even after 7 years in a box, the human spirit cannot be contained. If this analysis of psychological captivity resonated with you, please like and subscribe for more deep dives into the most disturbing true crime cases.